Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is the Walkthrough King, and here we got a video on the brand new released game, Apex Legends. Now, for those of you who have been following me a long time for my Call of Duty videos, don't worry, I will still be posting a ton of Call of Duty information and guides, as well as general videos. However, I also want to branch out and start doing Apex Legend videos, as I've been really enjoying this game. Anyways, let's get right into this video. Here are the top 3 spots, in my opinion, that you can land for loot and just get a ton of loot right off the bat. There may be better spots that work for you, however, these spots have always gotten me a ton of loot where you could just run right through it right off the bat. Sometimes not always the best loot, but that is the RNG luck of a Battle Royale game when you're going for loot. Starting out, this one is my favorite, and that is the bunker. There's 2 entrances into the bunker. You can go in from the left side or the right side. Both sides have 3 crates in front of them, and inside the bunker itself, it has about 5 or 6 rooms of just loot scattered all across the floor. This is one of the drops where there's so much loot where I just run through spamming E, not even really checking what there is, just trying to hope for a weapon right off the bat. Now, this spot actually can be quite intense at times. For the footage that I got, I was lucky enough to not have anybody go there, but sometimes you do get a couple of teams that will follow you here. Occasionally, I'll go in from one side and then meet another team in the middle inside the bunker itself. And the battles in the bunker are just really fun. It's just one narrow hallway that you can go down. So if you got a nade or anything of that sort, you're gonna make life hell for the other team, or vice versa if they end up getting the better weapon. Sometimes you might have bad RNG luck and just not get anything, and then you run into another team that was running through the opposite way. They get the guns, they take you out. But that's the Battle Royale life. Anyways, this is my favorite spot to drop. It has a bunch of loot just lying around on the floor, so if you want to just quickly get into the fights, just drop down and just run spamming E, you can go ahead and do that and have the potential to get a lot of good loot. Moving on to our next spot, this is another spot that I like to go to if the plane is going right over it, especially in the beginning of the match where you could just drop right into this spot. This spot is up at Relay. There's a little compound that has about 6 or 7 crates that you can access, as well as a bunch of sheets laying all over the floor with the loot that spawns in them. So in my opinion, this is a fantastic spot to land, as you could quickly just rush through here and pick up a ton of loot. Even if multiple people land here, there is still a lot of loot to go around. And like I was saying a second ago, I really like it when the plane goes right over this in the beginning of the match, so that way you could just sit there spamming to jump out of the plane, immediately go down into this spot, and then start getting loot and get into a battle if people follow you there. The fights can actually be quite fun around this area, and once you're done looting this main little compound, there is a bunch of little houses and shacks that you can loot on your way out. It also has a lot of zip lines, so on your way out, you can get around the area a little bit easier, as well as we cannot forget the balloon spawn as well if you need to get out in a hurry. This place, I'd say, is one of the hidden gems for loot landing spots, as a lot of the time, unless the plane goes directly over top of this, I usually don't see a lot of people come up here in my games, at least any of the games that I've come up here. And before we move on to the next spot, I also want to mention that there is a chance of a beacon spawning here, so if you have somebody running Pathfinder, just the character that I usually run, it is also a plus, as you can see where the next gas spot is going to be at. Moving on to the third and final spot that I wanted to show for good loot drops is the water treatment center. Now, when you land here, I usually land in the far back, as there are about 3, 4, or 5 crate spawns that are there. And then you got that main major building that you can end up looting as well, which has multiple floors of loot. And once you have looted all of that, unless you plan on camping there for a long time, on your way out on the left or right, there are small villages, so you can end up looting those buildings on your way out for the potential of even more loot if you still needed anything. So I believe with having all of the crates right by each other and the buildings just right there with a bunch of loot that is very easily accessible and all right next to each other, I feel like this as well is another good drop spot. So these are basically my top drop spots whenever I play this game. And as I've been saying, the reason why I feel like these are the top drop spots, at least for me, is when you drop down, there is a bunch of loot spawns all right by each other. And I feel it is easier to drop here if you want a bunch of loot than some of the villages, as there is a lot less loot in the buildings and the villages, and it's more scattered over the area, as you have to go from each house to each house, where these spots have a bunch of loot all right by each other, so you really don't have to travel far to get to the next loot spot and the next loot spot. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of these loot spots, as well as if you have any other loot spots that you really like to land at that you think are even better than these spots that I have shown. And I am also interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this game as a whole, as this is a brand new game, so I'm actually really interested to hear what the people think of this game so far. I have been really enjoying it. It seems like the devs really want to take this game far, as long as things stay as smooth as they have been. I feel like this game has the potential to be incredibly big. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll be posting more Apex content soon, as well as more COD content for everybody that has subbed to me for COD. Don't worry, like I said, I still will be posting the same amount of content for COD. I'm also going to be including some Apex in there as well. If you are new here, I definitely recommend subscribing. As always, this has been the Walkthrough King, and I hope to see you guys at the next one. Peace!